Here's Sheppard. Likes to match up with post. Floats it up. Oh, nifty finish.
If you didn't know who Reed Sheppard was before March 5th, the Warriors found out the hard way. Against Golden State, a team that has seen every kind of perimeter scorer over the last decade, a 6'3" rookie guard for the Houston Rockets dropped 30 points, hit 6 threes, and very nearly pulled off an upset. He finished 12 of 19 from the field, 6 of 12 from deep, and played 37 minutes like he'd been doing this for years, not months. What made it terrifying wasn't just the box score, it was how he did it. Step-back threes out of the pick and roll, relocation threes when defenders turned their head for half a second, soft floaters in the lane when the big stepped up too high. Every tiny mistake Golden State made, one bad closeout, one late switch, one lazy pass, turned into points because Sheppard processed it faster than they did. And the Warriors game wasn't some random one-off. In his last 4 games, Sheppard is averaging over 20 points and 6 assists per game, with 16 made threes in that stretch and efficiency that looks ridiculous for a rookie guard. On the season, he's putting up around 13 to 14 points a night with nearly 3 made threes, plus real playmaking and 1.4 steals per game, all while shooting efficiently enough to help Houston win more often than they lose when he's on the floor. So the question for this video is simple. Who is Reed Sheppard? Where did this guy come from? And why is he suddenly one of the most scary young guards to game plan for in the NBA?
Sheppard tips it away for the steal, and he'll pay it off on the feed from Wagner.
To understand why Reed Sheppard can walk into an NBA game and casually drop 30 on the Warriors, you have to go back to Kentucky. As a freshman in 2023-24, he wasn't even a full-time starter. He played 33 games, started just 5, and still averaged 12.5 points, 4.1 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 2.5 steals in under 29 minutes per night. The efficiency was the part that didn't make sense. 53.6 from the field and a nation-best 52.1% from 3 on real volume, plus 83.1% from the free throw line. Those are video game numbers, not true freshman in the SEC numbers. But it wasn't just spot-up shooting in the corner. He was running pick and roll, hitting pull-up threes, and punishing closeouts with one-dribble jumpers and floaters. He showed that same calm pacing you see now in Houston. Come off a screen, read the low man, and either fire a 3, hit the roller, or swing one more to the open shooter without hesitating. Defensively, he was already an event machine. Those 2.5 steals per game came from timing and anticipation, not crazy length. He would stunt at the nail, bait passes, and then jump the passing lane a split second before the ball left the handler's hands. He even averaged 0.7 blocks per game at 6'3", rotating from the weak side to contest at the rim or sneak in from behind for chase downs. So by the time the draft came around, scouts were looking at a guard with historically good shooting numbers, real passing feel, and disruptive defense. The only real questions were about his size, athleticism, and whether that style would scale up to NBA athletes, which makes what he's doing now even scarier.
They've taken them out of their stuff. Sheppard on a kick. Sheppard, nice touch.
Even with those insane Kentucky numbers, Reed Sheppard wasn't treated like a guaranteed superstar at first. Scouts loved the shooting and the feel, but there were real questions. 6'2" to 6'3", around 185 pounds, an average wingspan, and not the kind of explosive first step you usually see from a top 3 pick. A lot of pre-draft reports framed him as a high-floor role player or an elite 6-man type, someone you trust to make shots and decisions, but maybe not the guy you hand the keys to in year 1. The Rockets didn't see him that way.
The Houston Rockets select Reed Sheppard from the University of Kentucky.
In the 2024 draft, Houston used the number 3 overall pick via the Nets trade to take Sheppard, betting that his elite shooting and IQ would scale even better in the NBA. They were coming off a season where outside shooting was a real weakness, and adding a guard who shot over 52% from 3 at Kentucky and posted 82 steals in a single college season was exactly the kind of swing they needed. Draft analysts immediately called him one of the best pure shooters in the class and a perfect modern guard to put next to on-ball creators. Houston's situation also mattered. This wasn't a tanking team desperate for any talent. It was a young, competitive roster with guys like Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, and Alperen Sengun already in place. Early on, that meant a smaller role and even a brief G League stint during his first season as he adjusted to NBA size and speed. But it also meant that once he figured it out, he'd be surrounded by enough talent and spacing for his strengths to explode. And that's exactly what you're seeing now, a former too-small guard turning Houston's backcourt into a problem for everyone else. Reed Sheppard is so scary in Houston because the Rockets use him in spots that fully unlock his shooting, feel for the game, and constant off-ball pressure. This season, he's averaging 13.6 points, 2.7 rebounds, and 3.3 assists in 25.8 minutes per game, while shooting 43.3% from the field, 39.6% from three on 6.7 attempts, and 80% from the line. That's basically instant offense in a controlled role. He's not dominating the ball like a heliocentric star. He's operating as a connector, someone who can run actions, space the floor, and then suddenly take over a quarter. Houston mostly plays him as a combo guard next to other creators. He'll share the floor with guys like Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun, sliding between on-ball reps and off-ball gravity. When he's on the ball, he lives above the break and in the weak side slot, where his 39 to 40% three-point shot forces defenses to stay glued to him. That spacing opens up driving lanes for everyone else, and the moment defenses help off Sheppard, the ball swings to a shooter who almost never needs more than a sliver of space. When he does handle, Houston leans into his decision-making. You see him running middle pick and roll, dribble handoffs, and Chicago actions where he can read the floor quickly. Recent games back that up. In March, he's averaging about 20.8 points and 6.3 assists on 45.5% from the field and 39% from three, showing he can scale up his usage without his efficiency falling off a cliff. So his role is kind of the nightmare archetype for defenses. He's not the primary focus of your game plan, but if you treat him like a role player, he'll quietly put up 20 and bury you with threes. Reed Sheppard is so scary in Houston because the Rockets use him in spots that fully unlock his shooting, feel for the game, and constant off-ball pressure. The shooting numbers tell you a lot. As a rookie, he's living up around the high 30s from three on real volume, and he's not doing it as a low-usage spot-up guy. He's taking threes off the catch, off movement, and off the dribble. Defenders can't cheat under screens because he's comfortable pulling up the second they do, and he has that compact, repeatable form that holds up even when he's flying off a handoff or sprinting out of the corner. Houston leans into that by running him off flares, ghost screens, and above-the-break actions. You'll see him set a screen, slip out to the arc, and be ready to fire before his defender even turns around. When the Rockets run pick and roll with him as the ball handler, the threat of the pull-up forces bigs to come higher up the floor, which opens easy reads to the roller or the skip pass. If the big hangs back, he walks into an in-rhythm three. The Warriors' game is the perfect example to reference on screen. Step-back threes when his defender tries to crowd him, relocation threes when the play seems over, and deep spot-ups that stretch the defense past its comfort zone. Once he hits one or two, he starts hunting different counters, floaters, mid-range pull-ups, and quick attacks off a hard closeout, without ever looking rushed or forced. So you end up with a guard who doesn't need a ton of dribbles, doesn't need the ball for long stretches, and still warps your defense every time he crosses half court. The longer you watch Reed Sheppard, the more it feels like the shooting is only half the problem. The other half is that he sees the game a step ahead of everyone else. For the season, he's averaging 3.3 assists per game in under 26 minutes, which scales out to around 6 assists per 48 minutes. Solid for someone who isn't the full-time primary ball handler. And when Houston gives him more responsibility, the numbers jump. Against Washington on March 2nd, he put up 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists, plus 2 blocks and 6 steals in 42 minutes. Basically running the entire game on both ends. 3 nights later versus Golden State, he added 6 assists to that 30-point explosion. What makes his passing scary is the speed of the reads. Out of pick and roll, he's comfortable hitting pocket passes to the roller, skip passes to the weak side corner, or simple swing reads when the defense sends two to the ball. He doesn't over-dribble. He gets off the ball early and keeps the advantage alive. That's why lineups with him often feel more connected. The ball moves, defenses have to chase, and the breakdown eventually leads to an open three or a layup. You can see it in the splits too. In Rockets wins, he averages 14.1 points and 3.3 assists with efficient shooting and low turnovers, which suggests that when he's in rhythm as a scorer and connector, Houston's offense hits another level. Even in lower assist nights, he still bends the defense just by being a threat. He relocates, screens, and cuts in ways that pull defenders out of position, opening passing lanes for teammates. So now you're dealing with a guard who can punish every coverage. Go under, he shoots. Trap, he hits the short roll. Stay home, and he keeps the ball popping until someone else breaks you down. The last thing that makes Reed Sheppard so scary is that on top of everything he does on offense, he's constantly turning defense into free points. He's averaging around 1.4 steals per game in under 26 minutes, which is a strong rate for a rookie guard who isn't gambling all the time. He has multiple games this season with 4+ steals, including that Washington game where he finished with 6 steals and 2 blocks on top of a 19-7-10 line. He digs down on drives, stunts at the nail, and then jumps passing lanes exactly when ball handlers relax. Even when he doesn't get the steal himself, his pressure forces rushed passes and bad decisions that teammates can capitalize on. That's the defensive version of what he does on offense. He processes fast, then punishes slow reactions. So how do teams adjust? You can try putting a bigger, more physical defender on him to bother his handle, but that usually means putting a smaller guard on someone else. You can chase him over every screen and top lock off his ball routes, but that opens slips and back cuts. You can switch everything, but now your big is out on an island against a pull-up shooter. There isn't a simple, just do this coverage you can lean on for 48 minutes. Long term, that's where the fear really comes from. This is year 1 of him figuring out NBA physicality, spacing, and timing. If he's already giving you 13 to 14 points, near 40% from 3, real passing and disruptive defense in a secondary role, the question stops being, is this real, and becomes, how good does this get once he's stronger, more experienced, and even more comfortable with the ball in his hands? If you're rocking with Reed Sheppard's rise and want more breakdowns like this, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments which young guard you want to see next.